Telecomunicación opción.
Good. Yes, good. Perfect. Amazing. Finally, being able to sit down with you.
Love it.
Yeah, since that day in, I think it was in Mahuana, I really, when we saw each other and you compliment my suit.
That's right.
You remember?
That was a nice suit too.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I get a little bit overweight, so I'm not able to fit on it anymore. That's it. Mayor Eric Adams, thank you so much for having us today in Gracie Mansion. Had an honor to be here. Not just a house, it's a historic monument for us, especially that it's been holding the opportunity to have people like you representing us, but also to give us the opportunity to meet you in this moment. I know
I'm curious, is this your first time here?
my first time in Gracie Mansion, no, it's my second time. But it's my first time actually sitting down and being inside of the house.
Okay. The first time was when in the last.
It was like 2 years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in a Dominican Heritage event
Okay.
that you guys hold here.
And I ask that for a reason, because being the mayor is both symbolic and substantive. You know, the substantive issues, housing, bringing down crime, and all that good stuff, but also symbolism. You know, you should have access to this space. And when I walk through the doors and shatter glass ceilings, it's not for me. It's for everyone who has historically been denied access to the city. The city must be open to everyone. It can't be certain parts of the city you're open to and then others you're not. This is your house. You paid for the lights, the gas, the air conditioning, so you should have a right to be here. And I'm happy that you're here several times while I'm the mayor.
Definitely, I think that was the only way to make it happen. Because as I said, having you here in Gracie Mansion is giving us opportunity to feel represented, but also feel that we also being part of this. And as you said, open the doors of your house to all of us, the media, but also I'm a young Dominican kid from DR. Like, who wouldn't imagine having the opportunity to sit down with you?
Love that. I love that. So that's what it's about.
And starting from that, like the open doors, but also to that we are celebrating the core of the Dominican heritage in this month and this week's. How do you feel the Dominican diaspora, the Dominican people welcome you, especially now that we are in this times of election, but also throughout the entire time that you've been as a mayor?
It's so important to me, you know, when you talk about a community with approximately 900,000 strong, 900,000 Dominicans live in our city. The Bronx is a growing population.
Correct.
It always has been strong in the Washington Heights area. But the contribution, you're seeing the presence of the Dominican community. In the police department, the numbers are growing at a large number. Business operators, housing, all the things that I knew were important, that I'm seeing the benefit of my policies impact the community that really was asking for a mayor to be responsive to the things that they knew they needed to raise their children and families. And so we're excited about that, and we're excited about continuing to do the work.
One of the things that, and staying in that part of the as Dominican and in the Dominican community, you openly share something that is struck me when I listened for the first time, and you mentioned kids, you mentioned family. You yourself face a really humble, but a reality of our society when you were called, and I said, you said, being called garbage bag kids.
Right.
And joining a gang at 14, around that age, being beaten by the police, and still choosing to join the NYPD. So when we visual Dominican men arrested in, for example, the parade that just happened, it's that type of information, that type of visual hit heavy in our community. What do you say to the Dominican Latino or Latino youth, how we feel to be seen as a threat before they're seen as a potential?
I love that. And you're right, that's a great question. Because Black and brown youth, we're often looked as a threat.
Correct.
You know, people grab their purses when we enter elevators. They lock their doors when we walk by. They follow us when we walk into a supermarket. This is the reality of that we have to live in, and we have to move away from how people treated us to how we look at ourselves and treat ourselves. So, what does that look like? If you walk into a supermarket and you felt you were being treated unfairly, become like the National Supermarket Association and open your own supermarkets. If you felt as though that the police treated you unfairly, join the police department and wear the blue uniform like the Dominican Officers Association, and you'll police your communities the way you feel they should be policed. So I'm saying, by using those two examples, that whatever you see a negative, turn it into a positive. Because the way you make a positive situation right is by you stepping up and saying, I'm going to be the agent of change. And we've all went through it, as you just shared, growing up in South Jamaica, Queens, born in Brownsville, struggling with a learning disability, being pegged as unable to learn, going through a negative encounter with police officers. I could have just said, woe is me, but I said, why not me?
That's true. But do you feel that, or do you believe that the system that you joined has been reformed or still failing to young men of color today?
No, it is not. It is far from perfect. There's so much more we have to do. But
So what has been done to shift that image nowadays?
I think yesterday's graduation is a real indicator. 25% of the recruits, almost 1,000 recruits, 25% were born outside of America. That's very impressive.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And we have to continue to do that. We have to continue to be not only substantive, but symbolism is important. And so what we have done, we have recruited across the entire spectrum. The first Dominican deputy mayor in the history of the city was appointed by my administration, DM Ana Amazon. Those are the types of things you do. Because now when she sits down and she handles a portfolio of dealing with young people, children and families, she's now bringing in her life story when she does it.
And actually, now that you mentioned that, my next question was actually going that way, because one thing is when we mention like that we're bringing opportunities, but also one thing that me as a young Dominican, but also immigrant, is being really hard to get a job. But one thing is getting a job, one thing is getting a career.
Right.
It's a different thing, because one thing is have minimum wages, one thing is to have a decent wage, but also to have a decent life.
Right.
For young people that have access to college, but also to programs in the city. What type of opportunities we are bringing right now, and what openings are for people to have more visibility right now?
Yes, and I think nothing personifies that more than with the United Bodegas Association. Opening bodegas, starting their own businesses. And we wanted to make sure that their businesses were safe. That's why we gave them panic buttons when they were victim of crimes and robberies. But also we use our small business services to give them the financial support with our Small Business Opportunity Fund, showing them how to pass inspections so that doors can stay open. But also, when you look at what we've done with MWBEs, $19 billion we put into women and minority-owned businesses so they could start their own business and allow those businesses to grow. That is our focus. And as you stated, we just don't want people to punch the clock. We want them to have real careers and be able to open their own business. And we have partnered with Google and other corporations to have a real internship program that also includes our summer youth employment. What we've done differently in our summer youth employment, we allowed our young people to find out about careers in government and out of government. And that is teaching them really the foundations of the skills they need to survive. Critical thinking, working in groups, social emotional intelligence. That is how you develop the full personhood of our children.
Especially when you're saying to have when we're talking about the mental health, or also the support that not just Dominican or Latinos, Afro-Latinos, right now we're seeing the situation that is, and I know that it might be it's a strong what's going on right now, but it's affecting a lot of immigrants right now when they see their families being taken over, and captive. And mental health is a big issue. How we can actually ensure that also these kids have the opportunities without fear to apply to a job without being persecuted just because of the last name or how they look like, because now we have that situation going on.
Yeah, and that's so important what you're saying, and it goes back to what I was saying about you. We need people who have gone through a lot to help people who are going through a lot. So look at the person who's in charge of my mayor's office of immigrant affairs. He's a dreamer. Commissioner Castro came to America from Mexico with his mother. As a teenager in high school, he was advocating for immigrant rights as a teenager in high school. Now, as an adult, he's in charge of the agency that is responsible for the rights of immigrants. He traveled with me down to El Paso at the border to learn more about the migrant crisis. Then he went with me to the Darien Gap. He went with me to Ecuador, to Mexico, and Colombia so that we can learn more. And he's leading the charge by giving immigrants their rights, their information. He was part of the advocacy to put millions of dollars in immigrant legal funds. So when someone has to go to court, they get the legal services that they deserve. And then when you think about it, we managed 237,000 migrants and asylum seekers. Now, one child or family slept on the streets of the city of New York. We advocated for TPS. We were able to get it under the previous administration. And we had legal services, clinics to show people the pathway to citizenship or getting a green card. 90% of the people who came into Slough went on to take the next step in their journey. So we didn't just talk about it. And when experts came to the city from across the country, immigrant advocates came, sat down, they said, no one in the country is doing what you are doing, and the country should follow your leadership.
It's true. And now making that, and I will just let's break a little bit of the ice now that we have to actually wrap. You once said, when the mayor has swagger, the city has swagger. If swagger was a cologne, what would your signature scent will be for this new election?
If it was a cologne?
Cologne, what it smells like?
I like to, it would be probably something polo.
Polo? I heard that you're a fashion guy. You know a lot of fashion. Let's do something pretty quick. Let's do like a quick fire answer question.
Yeah.
If I said Dominican Day Parade, you said?
Fun. Festivity, save.
If you're stuck in an elevator with one of your 2025 contenders, who will be and what you will talk about?
Last time I said that, it got in hot water, but it would still be Mandani.
Mandani?
Yes, I would try my best to convince him how much his policies are hurting the city, will hurt the city.
Okay. And in New York City in August feels like?
I'm sorry, say again?
In New York City in August, it feels like?
Joy.
A song that reflects your story. If in Hollywood decide one day to make a biopic of you, what song should be?
It should be, what song? It's
like a song, yeah.
Yeah. Right away I have to tell you, My Way.
My Way.
Yeah.
And if your teenage self sees you right now, what do you think he will say? That teenage boy that was beat up in jail for a minute in a gang, suffering because of his mother, seeing suffering. Like, what do you think that little kid will say, seeing you sitting now in front of a Dominican immigrant talking to you?
It's a great question. I think he would say that we're going to meet many bends in the road, but it's not the end of the road. You just got to make the turn. And I've had a lot of bends in the road. I just kept making the turn, and I'm here.
And you're here.
Yes.
Final question. Is that unusual, but is a really historic race? Zohran Mamdani, as you say, Zohran, now Democratic nominee after defeating Cuomo. He's reshaping New York City politics, but you're running as independent. How you're rebuilding trust in the Latino Dominican youth and this crowded field and rebuilding trust for voters, especially young Dominicans? I know that we as diaspora, as community, we have a lot of power, but what do you think we should trust and gain back the trust to go and vote?
Well, I think that when you look at this race, first, there's a misconception that the overwhelming Jewish or young population, youth population, automatically has signed up to what the Democratic primary winner is saying. That is not true. 9 to 10% of the voters voted. 2.5 million didn't. 1 million independents didn't. Hundreds of thousands of Republicans have not. I have a responsibility of asking the young people in this city. I said I was going to make you safe. I did that. I said I was going to build housing in the city that's affordable to you. I did that. I stated I was going to invest in after-school programs. I was going to invest in mentorship programs. I was going to have summer youth jobs, summer rising. I did those things. I said I was going to say if you are low income, you would not pay taxes in the city. I did that. If you're foster care youth, Dominican youth, I'm paying your college tuition and giving you a stipend and a life coach. The things that I said I was going to do, I did. Don't look at broken promises. Look at someone that produced results for you.
Actions. Exactly.
Action speaks louder than words. I'm not a social media celebrity. I don't go based on clicks. I go based on delivering for the city.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Mayor
Thank
Alex.
you.
And thank you for inviting us here to meet you at Gracie Mansion, but especially hope this marks the start of more talk
Yes.
and less policy, more talk and conversation, because to be honest, we are in a human dialogue and we are voters, but also we are builders, creatives, New Yorkers who actually our voices matter. So thank you so much for this
Thank you.
opportunity. And you don't know how much this is for me as Dominican, but also as Latino, Afro-Latino, representing my people and my young. I know that we're going to, on a Dominican Day parade and a lot of things happen. But I think the promises you're making, especially the protection that we're giving, actually we can feel it. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Do
very
you
much.
mind I know it's supposed to be strictly in English, but just
No,
to wrap,
no, go
do
ahead.
you mind that we can say a little bit something for
Yes.
our people in Spanish?
Yes, I don't mind at all. You know,
Si pudiera decirle algo a los jóvenes
you're
dominicanos.
making it hard for me. Let me say what I want to say.
Okay.
When you in this house, mi casa, su casa.
Could you say just like a little brief hi hello to Super Canal, which is our network.
I go to, what's the center? What was it?
Super Canal.
Super
Canal.
Canal.
Yeah. As a thank you for
Yes, I go to Super Canal.
and thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your time. It's
Thank
been
you.
amazing.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate your time and thank you for being completely open and honest with us.
Yes,
We hope-
always. Did I have one or two?
Let me get this one here. You might, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's do it again.
Of course, yeah, please, let's do it.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Opción New York, qué mejor forma de comunicación. Opción New York.